All right, we are live now. I want to say hello to everyone and welcome to the YouTube Mall Builders Thursday night. Almost messed up, called it Tuesday. Thursday night general hangout. Thursday's hangouts are for the general discussion of mall railroading that we all can set a topic to discuss for the night. As y'all know, my name's Johnny Reb. I'm from Southeast Rails. Thursday hangouts are the proud sponsor of the YouTube Mall Builders, the EMAG, the YouTube Mall Builders live show. These hangouts, well, anyway, I changed all that. So if you are smoking or drinking alcoholic beverages, if you would, please turn your camera off while doing so. And we also ask that you mute your microphone, thank you, dude, when not talking so that we can kind of minimize any echoes or static or background noises. If we get those and somebody's talking, it makes it difficult for people to hear what they were saying. So that's the beginners. You guys have anything specific you want to kind of talk about, or don't everybody speak up at one time here? All right, I'll tell you what. Let's do this. I missed the Tuesday night show, and because of a few little technical difficulties, it was not available until just a couple hours ago tonight, and now it's available on the site, so I have not had a chance to see it. I know it's a good show. It's on structures. Had Miles Hale there, Ron Klaus, Jim, Phil. I think y'all were there. Were you there, Andy? Andrew. Yeah. Andrew, were you there? No. Yeah, we're reading lips on Andrew. He forgot how to turn his mic on.
I watched it on YouTube because I couldn't get. I was having technical difficulties.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched it.
Oh, was you on the panel, or you just watched the recording?
Yeah, okay. I was on the panel.
So, how'd y'all like the show? I heard it was a really good show.
Yeah, it was.
What'd you take from it, Andrew?
My eyesight's failing. I'm getting old.
Well, I do. Go ahead.
Generally speaking, it was a good show on structures. Some of the things the miles showed up when you first looked at them. You know, it's surprising. And when he showed you the inside, you seen they're actually made of wood with cardboard on the outside. Quite amazing.
Yeah, just before this, I did call it up and just watch a few minutes of it. And question, Jim, I noticed he talked about the pastel chalks. Did that help you out any since you tried it and thought it was rather difficult?
I haven't tried it myself yet.
No, not really.
No, really? Yeah, gone back and tried it again.
Well, Miles said that there was certain places for it to be used. He used it on like chimneys, which is a very small brick, mortar work, depending on which scale you're in. To do a whole building like that, he kind of frowned upon it. Said there was other ways to do it, but I really don't remember what he stressed was the other ways.
One of the bigger problems is Miles used it on O-scale buildings, so it looked a little better. When you try to do it on HO scale, it's just too fine of grout work. And I don't know, it just doesn't quite look right.
Yeah, I talked to Dude a little earlier. He said he's going to bust my chops. So see, he's already doing it. Oh, delete that. Do you have a question before we get into that? Do you want to let the viewers know that we do have the Q&A link up, so please feel free to ask questions. Be glad to try and answer them for you. Like to hear what y'all having problems with or want to hear or talk about. Dwight, his question is about using glues. Yeah, I think that's pretty general there, Dwight. Anybody got any thing they like to say about glues on any specifics about using them? So like the plastic solvent glues versus super glue versus modeling glue.
Glues are sticky. Super glues, you stick your fingers to stuff, and it hurts when you pull it off. Nail polish doesn't necessarily remove it.
Well, it does, but you have to keep applying it. Yeah.
Just if you're going to use PVA glues anywhere near Pico track, be careful which PVA glue you use, because not all PVA glues are the same. I found if I use the wrong PVA glue, the track turns bright green.
That's the water content, I guess, oxidizing the rail. Now, when you say PVA glue, you're talking about white glue?
Yeah, wood glues.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
There's what they call, there's two types of wood glues, an interior and an exterior. The exterior is something in it which waterproofs it once it goes off, and the interior wood glue doesn't. The exterior, whatever it is they put in it to waterproof it, reacts violently with nickel rails.
Yeah, nickel silver rails, yeah.
Yep.
So the interior glue would be a better glue if you're going to use a white wood glue type.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I found that, I mean, I've used the solvent glues. I've used 10X. I've used testers. I've used several others. I got a few of them on my workbench. Out there at the store when we were putting some buildings together, I noticed that we were building that big long viaduct bridge, which all of it's molded in a black plastic. And some of those solvent cements would not adhere, would not do what you would think they would do, melt that plastic so it would stick together. And we had to kind of play around until we finally found, a glue that would actually glue those viaduct pieces together to make the bridge. And I've noticed that with the styrene too. I've used a few black pieces of styrene, and for whatever reason, some of that solvent cement just will not work with it. And I've had to use super glue to put it together, which worked just fine. So I guess it depends on what the plastic is, what color it's molded into. I know black can keep some of those glues from working, so I better have a few glues on hand. So if you run into a situation, start using a different glue, see what happens.
Some of those plastics are made out of ABS instead of styrene. And there is a slight different glue you need to use with an ABS plastic over a styrene plastic.
Mm-hmm. Seemed like these I was using was the all styrene. Now the kit, that viaduct bridge, I couldn't tell you what that was, other than the fact it was plastic. So I don't know if it was a styrene or ABS. Like you said, it's probably an ABS since the solvent glue didn't want to work so well on it.
I normally have to use a two-part, like an epoxy or something for resin, or for ABSs. You generally have to use a two-part, like an epoxy. But for solvents, I like using MEK thinner better than I actually like using paint. I just use MEK thinner. It, solvents against the plastic, softens it up, glues it together, and you can buy like a quart of the stuff for a few dollars. And I also use the MEK to thin contact cement too. So it has, it's kind of a multi-purpose thing to have around. And I find it to be the best glue around until you start working with like 10X. 10X is better, but shorter 10X, I just don't use MEK as any other solvent.
Mm-hmm. There's one that was everybody was using that was very popular, and I'll be darned if I can remember the name, but they quit making it.
Crowell.
That might be it. I was wanting to think it was something like a 10X or it started with a T.
Brits use something other than 10X, but we can't get it here in the States. It was outlawed in the States for some reason. You can't get it here and you can't import it. It used to be popular over here, and the Brits are still using it to great acclaim, but we can't get it.
Yeah, it's probably because of the chemical contents in it.
Yeah, it has some chemical that was outlawed for some reason or regulated for some reason.
Yeah, Tamiya.
Tamiya. I used to use Tamiya. I don't know if that's the one. I sure haven't seen that in a long time. That was a brand that made a bunch of different ones.
And Revel.
Yeah, and Revel completely went out of business, the whole company, I think.
Yeah. It used to come in a little blue bottle with a little metal and needle at the end of it for applying fine drops.
There's been so many glues out there, but and I have a tremendous number of glues, and I still don't have super glues mastered. I have not found the right. I need a super glue that's faster than the ones I have right now. I've got about a 10 or 12 second cure glue. I need one that's sub 5 seconds. I'm still looking for how to do that. Short of that, my glue use is really, really simple. I use Mod Podge for everything that most people would use a PVA for. I use Mod Podge for scenery, etc. It's flat. It's easier to thin and dilute. White glue has a hard time taking water sometimes. Also, white glue is inconsistent. So sometimes you can add 50-50 water to it, and it'll have plenty of bonding power. Sometimes you add 50-50 water to it, and you can go back and scrape the ballast up later. It gets kind of chunky. It's inconsistent in its purity. Mod Podge is my preference for a PVA equivalent, but that's the only use I use. Scenery is the only place I use that. And then I like the MEK thinner for solvent glue, and then I use a lot of contact cement. And I use Plyo Bond, which is like a contact cement, but a little bit different. I use it some too, and I thin it with MEK. But super glues, I'm still fighting with some brands of it. I've got a few that I like, but I don't have a fast one.
Anybody else got anything else on the glues?
I think basically just find one you like that works and stick with it.
Yeah, glues tend to be like a religious argument against people. Somebody finds something they like, and they'll go to war over it being the best thing. And there's no great answers on glue. There's some good ones and a lot that aren't as good.
Yeah, it depends on really what you're doing and how you're using it, really. I mean, to me, it seems like, you'd actually need about at least 2, maybe 3 different ones, kind of cover the basics anyway.
I got about 8 or 9 different glues that I use on a pretty regular basis. I use a fabric glue for setting trees. I use, I forget what that's called.
Some kind of cloth tack or something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah, Fabri-Tac. That's what it's called.
Fabri-Tac.
Fabri-Tac.
Real quick, that MEK you're talking about, where did you get that at?
Lowe's or Menards, just from a home supply. I bought it in a metal jug. Looks like acetone or denatured alcohol. I keep both of those around and use those for a certain purpose.
That'll be in the paint department then.
Yeah. MEK is just a thinner metal alkene ketol or metal something like that. Ketol is MEK. It's a type of thinner. It's the only thinner that doesn't destroy contact cement, and you can thin contact cement and then paint it. So I thin contact cement and then you put it through a needle and apply it in very small counts and in very small amounts. So I'll apply thin contact cement with a needle to very small points, like putting rail down. and then I'll let it set up for about 15 minutes, and I'll paint the bottom of the rail with the solution. Then I'll set my rail in place and use a soldering iron to just heat the rail up real fast and cure it. And I can set the rail in there, hit it with a soldering iron, and in 5 seconds it will cure the contact cement and hold the rail down, bond the rail down in 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And then that Fabri-Tac, that's a really good glue for like setting trees and things that it's a similar effect to hot glue, but a little more, well, I mean, it's meant to bond to fabric, so it's meant to be flexible without breaking. So it's great for large scenery components without the pain of dealing with hot glue. I still deal with hot glue, though. There's still places where hot glue is perfect. And then Mod Podge has it, you know, it's one of my favorites. I still use white glue for some structure work, but mostly super glues. So you need a pretty good size arsenal of glues, honestly.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, Dwight, that's giving you some information there. Hopefully, if there's something specific, you know, throw a question up there. We got this fella in here in the viewers named Dude. What kind of glues you like to use? I'll let you put a little post up there. We'll see what this character likes to use when he's gluing stuff. Well, while we get back to structures, anything else in the show there that somebody might have taken away that didn't know it before the show?
Oh, if you could sit in a show with Miles Hale for an hour and a half and not learn something, you're a better man than me. That guy's got every trick in the world, man. Of course he should. He's been at this a long time, but he's got the tricks.
Here's something for you, Andy. I'll put it posted up here. I'll let you make what you want of it.
All right.
That fella's going to have cramped fingers by the time he gets done tonight.
Oh, let's go.
But
As soon as this opens.
oh yeah, Miles does all kinds of buildings. He'll do the paper, cardboard, wood, you know, plastic. Yeah, I do see stuff in his face. Then he'll come on. Okay. I'm not going to ask what he's stuffing his face with. Probably super glue. With a little mix of PVA.
I'm in Idaho right now, so I know what it's like here. Man's got to find something to do to entertain himself. I'm in Boise, and I can't see much of anything.
I had Dwight's put up here glue for structures, glass, etc. So, all right, Andy has already said he likes to use the contact cement when he's laying rail. Structure glues, I tell you what, I don't know if anybody here has really done any of the Hodgecal style buildings. Has anyone done anything?
No, I mean to. I'm going to. I haven't yet. Gino's done some cow, but Bill Graham's done some hydrocal structures. Both look great, but I don't know what they used.
Bill, I think he was using like 2-part epoxy.
That makes sense. And then you do like resin kits. I got to start on some resin kits here soon, and I'm going to use a 2-part epoxy. It's predictable.
Yeah, it is. Just got to remember, even with 2 parts, you don't want to get too heavy with that glue as you put the parts together because you will have squeeze out.
Oh, yeah, and I lay back on the hardener. I don't mix epoxy 50-50. I mix about 70 to 30% hardener. I mix light on the hardener.
Oh,
It's easier to work with. It's just easier to work with.
All right, what about the drying time? Do you still keep about the same drying time?
Yeah, close enough. But I'm pretty patient normally. If I'm working with epoxies, I just expect it to take a little longer than it takes too long. Put a piece together and step away from it for a few minutes. So if it took a little longer, I wouldn't notice.
Yeah, yeah. Dude, I don't know what's going on with your microphone, but we can't understand a thing you're trying to say, or if that's the feedback coming from you. So,
Been invaded by aliens or Canadians, one.
yeah. All right, we got a fella here, Steve, because I'm not even going to try and pronounce the first name. I will mess that up really bad. Let me select it, put it up here at the top for all you guys to see. I've done hydrocal. You use 5-minute epoxy and hot glue for the structures.
Oh yeah, Muskoka, Steve. I've seen his
Muskoka.
YouTube. Yeah, well, I'm assuming I'm pronouncing that right, but I've seen his YouTube channel. He's got a pretty nice couple deck layout that he's working on. He's got some really nice trees, really nice structures. He's a good modeler.
Okay, well, need to go check him out. Check his site out.
Yeah, he's got a good YouTube channel. He's got some videos on there, and he's got a history of YouTube videos. Really nice structures. He had one that won some awards, and rightfully so. It was a really good looking structure.
Yeah. Yeah, I like those structures that Gino and Bill have done, especially if you're looking for something to, you want a structure that really looks really old, dilapidated.
Yeah.
Those hydrocals, they got some really nice detailing for that and have the look for it.
When Gino did, gosh, I can't remember what the brand is, but they are meant to look like dilapidated, run-down buildings. They come with plywood to cover windows up with and stuff. They're, a modern, run-down interurban was the kits that he built with. Now, Bill models, I'm not sure what era, but his stuff is not as modern interurban, and he used a different brand of kits. And I think Gino's work's incredible, but that stuff Bill did fit right in with what I need on my layout anyways.
Yeah, Bill was, he don't have a whole lot of structures because he does more switching than anything. I think now he's going to have, a few more structures than what he's normally had, on his previous layout.
Yeah.
Of course, he's locked into a contract with the Canavelli family there, so, he can't get away from them. It's one of them New York families. And they kind of started supplying some of the other businesses on his layout. So, yeah, the kits we were talking about, the hydrocal, are called Deco kits.
Yeah, Art Deco. Yeah, Deco. Those are the ones, especially the ones Gino did.
Yeah.
It used to be pretty popular, and it really kind of started to make a comeback.
Yeah, those were the kits that Bill used too. Was the downtown Deco kits.
Okay, I thought he used something else. He has an industrial looking building that I was thinking was hydrocal. That's not that interurban kind of thing. It's a building flat for an industrial facility that's just that I've been eyeing it for a while.
Yes, hydrocal.
I think so. I think so. He also, I'm pretty sure me and him. It's been a while since we talked about this. So I don't remember the detail, but it seems like he had used a Monster Model Works flat too, which I'm a huge fan of Monster Model Works. Their stuff is all laser cut wood, including the brickwork, but it is the best brick I've ever seen, and it's done with laser cut wood. It's a bit like Like I said, it's the best brick I've ever seen.
Yeah. Yeah, we're at the store. We finally, I'm going to be putting those hills we've been making down on the layout next week, and got the concrete wall done. Of course, it falls short. I just got a little short length of that incline to hide. And I was kind of wanting to do something a little different, do like a stone type wall, but that's on kind of a hard curve there, so we're kind of looking at the styrene evergreen, I think it was, or plastruct uh, sheets of rock that we could cut, make a wall out of.
Yeah, there's another company that I just recently got turned on to that I'm going to use for bridge abutments. Let me see if I can figure out who they were. They, again, I'm not a huge fan of plastic or styrene. I just don't have great luck with it. But there's another company that makes. I think I must have it on my work PC. They make hydrocal and such, and they make sheets, and they make some bridge abutments and piers, and really incredible.
Yeah.
See if I can find that.
Well, I had a train of thought there, and it just went out the window. Oh, talking with Brian out there at Stork, I did find they had some of those flexible walls there at the store. And I was looking at those, do that short run of stonework, and didn't quite like the color. It wasn't kind of what we wanted for that part. I was asking Brian about if we could just do a dry wash on it and all, and he said no, it won't take it at all. He said the color that those are molded in, that's it. That's what you're stuck with. Steve has posted, I've been thinking of trying the Monster Mallworks brick siding. How is it to work with? Do the lintels look realistic?
Unbelievable. Best looking thing, best I've ever seen, number one. And it's laser cut wood, which for me is the easiest material there is to work with. I would rather work with a laser cut wood building than anything else. I don't have great luck with other things, but wood is super easy. But it's all what you're comfortable with. Some people work great with styrene. I'm just not one of those people.
Yeah.
Styrene.
I haven't tried the wood yet, but I'm going to.
I work great with wood. Wood makes sense to me. It's easy to stain. It's easy to glue. It's light. It's easy to adjust things that don't fit or don't fit perfectly to make them fit perfectly. It's easy to fill in gaps to get everything right. But with, I will say, Monster Model Works, there are virtually no gaps in everything. The corners are very precise, and if you're doing brickwork, you can make the wrap around the corners perfect, which personally I'm picky about, and I look at that. I'm one of those rivet counter kind of guys who looks at that stuff. That was something that Miles mentioned in his photo backdrops. He said, or photo buildings. He said the corners don't align correctly. I'm sure that's probably true. Most people don't. That is something I personally look at. It's like, when Jim Lincoln was on here months ago talking about track work, he said, when I walk into somebody's layout, the first thing I do is look at their track work. He said, they can have great buildings and great scenery, but if the track work ain't right, I'm turned off in just a couple seconds. And, it's all what you look at. Some people walk into a layout room, they look at locomotives. Some people look at structures, some scenery. I tend to look at track work, too. First thing I look at when I walk in somebody's layout is the track work.
Mm-hmm. Well, we got a new fellow here on the panel. PR. JL. What's your first name?
Randy.
Andrew. Mute your mic. Oh, that's Andy. Yeah, we're getting an echo off of you, Andy. Thank you. I'm sorry. Andy was echoing everything. What did you say your first name was?
Randy.
Randy. So how you doing tonight?
Good.
Oh, good to have you in here on the panel.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Makes things a lot easier than sitting there typing all the time.
Yeah, it does.
About what part of the country you in?
Nebraska.
Really? Okay, that's good. What scale?
In.
In scale? Yeah,
Yep.
you're young.
Scale.
Oh, that's enough of that right there.
Yeah.
All right, all right.
Yeah, you're
He's
young
got
enough
good
for that.
eyes.
Yeah, he's young enough for that. Good thing Dave's not here.
Yeah, I don't cut Dave no slack either. So
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't notice I lost Andrew. All right, he'll be back.
you know, I don't know why N-scale does that. N-scale really pulls out the love and hate in people. People either love it or hate it. Now with S-scale or O-scale or G-scale or TT or anything, they're all just kind of, all right, yeah, that's cool. If you like it, whatever, do whatever. N-scale, they're either, yeah, man, I am glad you're an N-scaler, or that's just crazy. It's one or the other. People are just love or hate it.
Well, I think it's because of the size of it and also the age. You know, how well are your eyes and how nimble are your fingers? You know? I
And
mean,
what you're trying to accomplish. What you're trying to accomplish, N-scale can sometimes be difficult to accomplish certain things in, but I was an N-scaler. Once upon a time, I had an N-scale layout, N-scale equipment, still have a little bit. I dabbled in N-scale when I was in the military and didn't have room for anything else. I couldn't have modeled in another scale, but and I considered N-scale when I built my layout. I did. I put serious consideration into it. I just hand laying N-scale track sounded tedious.
Yeah, I was an HO for and then just house.
Andy, microphone.
Oh yeah.
Go ahead, Randy.
Yeah, just had to move to a smaller house, didn't have the room, and sold all my HO scale stuff. Decided to get back into the hobby and got into N, and been doing that ever since for about the last 4 years now. I've had a big layout, or kind of a big layout room size, and then went back down to a small one, make it more manageable.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, you know, you have to use what you got room for.
Yep.
N-scale fits that for a lot of people. You know, there's some people live in apartments. Some people just still don't even have the room. We've got one guy that's in our community lives out there in Las Vegas, and yeah, he just hadn't got the room in the house, and he started eyeing the closet, and he's doing N-scale in there. It's a L-shaped, and he's getting a good start on it. He's going to have him a nice little switch and layout right there. Of course, he talked to his wife. She finally said okay, and she was going to let him knock a hole in the wall, because on the other side of one wall of that closet is the laundry room. She said he could put a hole in there and have a shelf out there to let the train run out there, make a loop, and come back. So, yeah. But it's, you know, you have to go with what scale works the best for you. I mean, N-scale now is getting where they're putting a whole lot more detail in them. I think they're running a lot better than what they used to in the beginning. They're more reliable.
And no question, they actually do run pretty good now. The decent sized N-scale locomotives have sound and DCC decoders built in. You can do nice work in N-scale. I'm a believer that a lot of times we find a scale and then try to model what we like in that scale. And I'm a believer that you need to pick the scale for what you're trying to accomplish. If you're trying to model main narrow gauge 2-foot scale, then HO is a horrible pick for that. And you need O scale or S scale. You know, you need to pick the scale that best befits what you're trying to model. But if you're trying to model, big mountain runs across Canada, N-scale is the perfect scale for that. If you're trying to capture big open runs across Nebraska, N-scale is a perfect scale for that. It's it's all about what you're trying to model. You know, I model a deep Appalachian forest, and HO is perfect for that particular thing. And I think that I started a fresh year and something ago with next to no equipment, just getting back into the hobby, and I could have chose any scale, considered numerous scales, and I picked a scale that fit what I was trying to model. Not, I didn't pick a scale and then figure out how to make it fit with what I was trying to model. I picked a scale that would model what I was trying to model, and I don't think people do enough of that.
Yeah, I agree. I model a joint line between, well, up there in Wyoming, you know, Powder River joint line. That's my railroad, the PRJL. I was in here last week giving you guys a Q&A on that sound decoder. Never did get to working on it yet. I've been too busy. But
Sound's a big fascination of mine. I'm a big believer in sound creating the environment to feel like you're there. So I'm using, I'm not hardly to the point where I'm doing that on my layout yet, but I will be soon enough. But I'm using, I'm gonna use river sound effects and various other, you know, ambient sound effects. I'm using under track sound for for flange squeal and brake noises and stuff under the track. So I could have done the same thing in N-Scale. Honestly, if I was in N-Scale, I would put all my sound effects under the layout and wouldn't try to put speakers in locomotives at all. I would skip it, and I would do under track sound, under layout sound for everything. And it's a good effect. I'm sure that it's a better effect than the little bitty speakers that you could possibly get in N-Scale. But yeah, I think N-Scale is perfect for capturing big, wide open space railroading that is impossible. I mean, in virtually any size. You know, it's not about the room size as much as what you're trying to model. If you have a small room or a large room and you're trying to model Colorado narrow gauge, ON3 or SN3, period. That's the perfect scale for modeling Colorado narrow gauge. And it doesn't matter how big the room is, you model a bigger or smaller section. And if you're trying to model big, wide open spaces, even if you have a big, big room, it's not easy to do that in O scale. You need to do it in N so that you make the scenery just look so much bigger than the trains. Because that's the effect you get with N scale, is that everything is dwarfed.
Yeah, because in scale, you can make long runs.
And run long trains. You know, a 60-car train in HO scale doesn't really look that right because you, as a viewer operator, are too close to the train to appreciate the total length of the train. It feels too long. A 30-car train in HO scale feels like you're rail fanning the prototype. As the locomotive disappears, you have a few seconds or a few cars that will cruise by before you can see the caboose. That's how it feels, rail fanning the prototype. But in N scale, with the equipment so small, you can run 50 or 60-car trains and get that feeling, you know, that semi-prototype feeling. So, which is, like I said, you can't do that. In O scale, a 60-car train would feel like it's 3 times as long as it's supposed to be, regardless of how big the room is.
Hey, Dave, how you doing?
Good. How are you guys?
You going to stick with us now?
Google. It takes forever to catch up.
Doggone it, the N-scalers are teaming up on us.
Yeah. Dave, let me introduce you to Randy here, PRJL. This is his first night on the panel, and he's an N-scaler.
Oh.
Yeah. He's up in Nebraska.
Cool. Yeah, Colorado.
He's an N-scale for now. We'll get a hold of him and try to convert him eventually.
Already.
I work here in North Platte, Nebraska, at Bailey Yard.
Oh, nice.
So,
Dream job?
10 years so far out there, so.
Are you still with him?
Oh, yeah.
There's another guy then. There's another guy that's not too far from you there, and that's DeBob Manscale. He's N-scale also.
Yeah, he's an N-scaler too, and he rail fanned the North Platte, and done a YouTube video on him rail fanning that yard recently as well. So it was a good video. It's huge.
Yeah, that was Greg with Fishplate Films from Australia when he was here.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, at least. Oops, sorry.
Do what, Randy?
At least I don't need to rail fan it.
Yeah.
Thursday, Fridays are my nights off, so this Thursday night hangout's perfect night to sit back and talk about model trains and the hobby.
Oh, that's good. That's good. That's good.
So,
That's
what topics and questions are we working on here?
This general talk. Well, we were kind of just going back over Tuesday night's hangout about structures. We've talked something about glues, where to use them, how to use them. Uh, we've talked a little bit about structures, how different structures look, wood, paper, Art Deco, the Deco uh, kits, downtown Deco kits.
Yeah.
Hydro cow.
You know, got any thoughts on glues or kits, structures?
Most of the glue that I use is one of these two. I love it. It's just quick and fast, and it's there, man.
What is that other one? I know 10X. What's that other one?
This one here, it's Plasti-Well. They got a nickel.
Oh, Plastwell. Yeah, all right, never mind. I know. Yeah, that's good stuff. I was talking a minute ago. I said I'd started using MEK thinner for my solvent glue. I hadn't been real happy with testers, and 10X has a place. I mean, 10X there's some different chemical formulation that 10X has that causes it to capillary in such a way that nothing else does. But if I'm not trying to use capillary action to pull the glue into something, then I use MEK.
Well, we just got us a new member here on the panel, and how you doing? I will let you pronounce your first name so I don't butcher it all up.
No, I'm Muskoka Steve. So I finally figured out how to get down here.
Okay. How you doing tonight?
Not too bad.
That's good. What scale and what area of the country are you in?
I'm HO. I'm in Ontario.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good twice. HO and Canada.
What's that? Sorry?
I said that was good twice. HO and Canada.
Yeah. Thanks.
Hey, Steve, I sent you a message on YouTube.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'm Dude Lindler. I'm the...
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Team lead.
Yeah, team lead for the presentations.
Okay, yeah, I got the ad on the Hangouts there.
Yeah, we call him Boss Dude.
Boss Dude, okay.
Yeah, it kind of gives him a big head, kind of like Boss Hog. If you ever watch the Dukes of Hazzard.
Isn't it halftime break yet?
No. Yeah, and there's Mr. Troy. How you doing tonight?
Hey, how's it going, guys? We're surviving.
We got two new members here. We got Randy over here, PRJL, and one more time, please, Steve.
Muskoka.
Muskoka.
Okie from Muskoka.
Hey, since we're on, are we still on structures, Johnny?
Yeah.
Has any of you guys ever taken let's say like an old farmhouse that you wanted to make it like an abandoned farmhouse on your layout, but it's a plastic kit, and to scrape up the side of the plastic to make it look, after when you paint it, like the wood is starting to split and all the siding and any of that? Have any of you guys done that with plastic kits?
Mm-mm.
Well, I've done a lot of chipping. I mean, you can do the chipping technique with plastic as well. I've done it on window sashes and things like that, and it comes out pretty good.
Okay.
You use the rubber.
I use AK Interactive chipping fluid, which is similar to like the hairspray technique, basically.
Oh, okay. So like what they used to, like the same technique that they use for doing rust.
Yes.
Or like rust is where it's starting to rust through, making a hole.
Yeah.
Like some of the older cars back in the 20s and 30s that are on, So
yeah, I do that for even a wood finish, and then use the chipping fluid and then just take the paint off on the top layer.
Okay.
You might also try, dude, is take your X-Acto knife, use the back side of the point, and come down the sides of the windows, across the steel and all.
You know what I was thinking, and I think it was someone on Troy's presentation. Someone was talking about using a file, what do they call that tool to clean out files?
Card file.
Yeah, a card file, and but they said it would to do that with wood, and I just wonder if that would do the same thing,
No, because what that is, the bristles on it are a little more rounded.
Oh, okay.
I think you'd probably come out better. It'd be a little tedious, but using the backside of a X-Acto knife to kind of scrape it up a little bit to simulate cracks, and then once you get your paint faded like you want, maybe you take a real thin India ink and alcohol and just run it in the crack itself, just to make it pop out a little bit.
Okay.
I was thinking one time had a kid I was kind of messing with about just taking my X-Acto knife and around the window jambs and all, framing and door frames. So just taking a X-Acto knife and kind of cut little notches here and there in there. Like the edge being chipped off, splintered off.
Well, I'm going to probably I don't have no wood kits, but most of all my kits are, of course, plastic, but I would like to, down the road in the future, experiment with doing scratch building. I wanted to do like an old farmhouse that was abandoned years ago, somewhere in the distance, and I was thinking of doing like an in scale, so it would look like it's further away, and
Make it look a little more dilapidated.
If you click on my screen there, I got a picture of the paint chipping off on the front entrance, and now that's plastic.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that looks good. I like that. Wow, that looks good.
I thought that was the front of dude's house.
Well, Johnny, close, because there's no for sale sign in the front of my place.
Yeah.
So what's the price, or what's the phone number on there? I need to call that number and see how much that building is.
That's BR459. Just don't ask for Judy.
555-1212.
That's what I was going to say. That's the default number right there.
Yeah, if you call the 1-800 number in New Jersey, you get Barry.
Yeah. So that's painted sort of grayish brown first, and then I do the chipping fluid over top of that with spray with my airbrush, and then painted a green over top of that, and then you just go back with some water and a brush and chip off some of the green paint to reveal the gray under.
What kind of chipping fluid is that? That sounds like the rubber cement effect that I use on wood models.
I use AK Interactive. Is targeted towards military models.
Yep. Yeah, I use their. They have a rust wash that is absolutely incredible, and I'm a huge fan of those AK Interactive because they're like they're extremely pigment rich, and it takes a literal drop to put a tremendous amount of color into something.
Yeah. And they're enamel. They're really good to work with.
Andy, if you could turn your mic on and off, it would sure help. You were getting real sabbaticals.
Yeah, I was going to ask him to do a Control R to.
For me?
No. Andy.
Okay.
We're picking up an echo with his mic open.
Oh yeah. Now the awning over that too. I use some the rust the AK Interactive Rust Wash on that as well.
Huh. Yeah, it's coming out really nice.
I'm surprised nobody else uses that AK Interactive. Their AK Interactive products. They are exceptional.
I like your little drainage that you did there on the sidewalk. That looks good.
Yeah, that's a etched brass piece that I got at the National Train Show last year, and the sewer grate as well in the middle of the road.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't even see that there.
They come in the same kit.
Yeah. Troy, that looks terrible seeing you sitting there with nothing behind you.
I know, huh? And a whole crap load of stuff still sitting up there on top of the layout.
Well, you'll be an eBay expert by the time you're done. At least you got that going for you.
Oh, yeah, I've been working out a lot here with eBay, I'm telling you.
Since we're into structures, I got another question I just happened to think of, because I think Jim has got a little problem too. Does anyone have a good way of taking a structure apart or removing the glue without destroying the plastic so that he could fix a problem?
You mean to take out the actual glue?
Yeah, be able to break it back apart. You know, like when you put two styrene walls together.
Yeah, there's actually some stuff. I'm trying to find mine here right now as we speak.
Probably some kind of a release.
Yeah, it is a releasing agent. It's a debonder. The stuff that I have here I actually picked up from a company called GHQ, and it's an actual debonder for carcinogenic adhesives. And the stuff works great. You just add a little bit on there, and it'll actually soften up the glue. This way you can go ahead and disconnect it and be able to pull your product apart. Now, I don't know the actual name of this stuff, but it was the only company that I actually found that actually had something like this.
Right,
not that we really searched a whole lot.
Was that C or GHQ?
GHQ.
All right, GHQ debonder. I'm sure if you Google that right there, you'll probably find it pretty quick.
Yeah, I think the website is www.ghq.com. They sell a lot of N and HO scale kits. What's that, Dave?
GHQ makes the resin kits for N scalers too.
Yes, they do. They have a lot of stuff that's on there. You're looking for details on steam locomotives and stuff, that is the place to go ahead and go. That's right where I bought a lot of my kits for all my N scale stuff, which reminds me I got to get that stuff all listed too.
But if Jim's looking for a hurry up solution to break a joint or something, throw it in the freezer for 3 or 4 hours.
If you're using the glue that it's not really a glue, but it's actually something that welds the parts together, the plastic or the
Well, try scribing the inside corner of it where you glued it with an X-Acto a few times and then put it in the freezer and it should come apart. I've done that a couple of times and it's worked okay.
Yeah, if you're using CA, Bob Smith Industries, who makes Instacure, they also make an Uncure as well for debonding CA.
You know what always confuses me is when guys talk about superglue. I always hear superglue. In where I'm from, they call it CA glue.
Yeah.
What is the difference between regular, if you go to Walmart and buy the superglue, and you go to is there a difference between the two?
Superglue really. Is probably a brand name, just like Kleenex. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Now, there are superglues that are not cyrenated adhesive, but most superglues are cyrenated adhesive. But superglue came around a little bit before CA become mainstream. CA is the medical grade stuff, and there is another solution that can make the equivalent of a superglue that's not CA, but it's not real common, and unless you buy the cheapest crap out there, it is CA.
Oh, okay.
CA is the medical, and really, if you call it CA, cyrenated adhesive is the medical terminology.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it became real popular during
Well,
Vietnam.
we used to do, I raced RC cars, and we used to, when we had a rookie racer with us that's just starting out, and he goes to one of the big races with us. When we're gluing tires, we do this trick of they have to wipe the top of the bead off after we get done gluing it, because we use like 5 seconds up to 10 seconds, and they put the rag really tight around their finger, and they go around the bead, and they can't, by that time, the finger is smoking because the CA glue is so hot from curing, and it will glue. From this point on, I feel bad about always doing it, but you know what? They did it to me.
Yeah, that's a coming of age thing. That's what people are supposed to do. But Miles,
Yeah, so they, the first instance that they do is they're like, oh, it's burning, because it starts burning, and they rip the rag off, and then they look and they don't have no fingerprints because it's all on the rag.
yeah, that's the worst thing you can do. I tell you, Miles had a really good trick that he mentioned on Tuesday. That
Oh
for
no.
weird reason, yeah, Miles is full of tricks, but for whatever weird chemical reason, a Walmart sack. Super glue would not adhere to a Walmart sack, so he said, I haven't tried it yet, but I'm going to.
Oh really?
Fascination. So he would use a little ball. He would take some tissue and put it in the corner of a Walmart sack and make a little sack out of Walmart adhesive and use it to wipe off super glue because it doesn't bond to it. Will not stick to it.
Huh. Have to try that.
Yeah, well, he still is taking. He wanted to make up some curtains, and he took a piece of masonite, wrapped the Walmart sack, Kmart sack. Walmart may do the same thing. I got a bunch of those because we don't have Kmart anymore around here. See if that super glue would stick to it. But he wrapped a piece of masonite, taped the bag to it, and then he wrapped it with sewing thread or very fine twine. Made the wraps real tight all the way across. Then he put super glue on there and used that plastic bag ball they made up and used that to spread the glue out because the glue won't stick to it. That way he got it evenly coated, and he was making curtain material. Then he cut out the curtain material to go in behind his windows and kind of made the curtains look like they were pleated.
Yeah, it looks like fabric. It's a great trick, and I actually asked him that question about what to make curtains out of because I have been trying to find a good source for manufacturing curtains for some small residential buildings, and the stuff that's commercially available, like the dry burnish-on decals that you put on the back of the acetate, those look horrible. I mean, they they don't look good at all. And that little idea Miles had, he had some examples of it there, and they look incredible. It's a great trick. I haven't tried yet.
Around here on a lot of these layouts, well, the guys' wives get into helping them on their layouts, and they like doing the decorating of the shadow boxes and doing the window decorations. And they always talk about the wives go to places like Joann's, fabric shops and all, and they'll get ribbons and stuff like that to use to make curtains.
And I thought I'd use tissue paper, like the kind of tissue paper that a lot of scratch builders use to make roll roofing, where you paint the roof with grimy black and then paste little strips of tissue paper into it and then paint over top of it. And I've used that for roll roofing, and it's okay. It's really thin, and I was going to use it, but it's not perfect, and it doesn't recreate the pleating effect that gravity has on curtains. I'm gonna try the Miles trick.
Yeah. All right. Tell you what, I want to take a mid-show break right here real quick. Yeah, get everything up and running here. Let's do it this way, see how that works. All right, Thursday Night Hangout Show, the proud sponsor of the YouTube Model Builders, the E-Magazine, and the YouTube Model Builders Live Show. The website is YouTubeModelBuilders.com. You can go to that website. You'll find the schedules for the live show, the Tuesday night presentations. They'll tell you when the live shows are going to be there once a month, usually the third Saturday. It'll let you know what the show's title's going to be, what it'll be about, and who the presenters are on the show. Tuesday nights, you can get schedules there. We have the format now of Tuesday night where we have different people for each week. We got Dude, Troy, Gino, and Barry. They all have their own shows. They pick their own topics, try and have a presenter in there for that particular topic. And those have been some really good shows right there. If you've watched last Tuesday, you saw Miles Hill on the show. He does make occasional appearances there too. I just don't have the money to pay the big bucks for them real popular people. So, yeah, you get me, the freebie.
We're happy to have you, Johnny. Don't be saying that. Don't downplay yourself. We're happy to have you, brother. And we also had, for a little while in the pre-show on Tuesday, Lionel Strain popped in for about 20 or 30 minutes and talked to us a little bit before we went live. I mean, he's a genuine Motorola celebrity, if there is such a thing. So,
yeah. Well, that concluded the mid-show public announcement, so we're back to our regular program. What you showing there, Dave?
It's that thing that took me a year to get to this stage.
Very cool. So tell us about how'd you do the fire escapes? That's the most fascinating thing. Is the fire escapes and the ladders, and are they plastic that come with the kit, or are they etched metal?
No, they're gold metal models etched.
Yeah.
Fire escapes. The electrical conduits and panels are all just wire bent, and the little junction boxes and whatnot, just little styrene squares painted silver. The vent pipes are aluminum tubing. The crossover's etched metal. The ladder going up to the top is etched metal. The TV antennas are etched. It's got the Walters roof details kit parts on it, coolers and air conditioners. The painting is red oxide primer for the brick, and then sealed with some matte finish acrylic. It's that Krylon, and then masked off each section and rattle candid. I think he used camouflage colors from Krylon, or is it Rust-Oleum that makes those camo paints?
Yeah, Rust-Oleum is the ones I use, and they are incredible. I love those paints.
And then I basically just took some fine sandpaper and sanded off to the brick here and there, and then
you've done more detail on that since the last time I saw it.
Yeah.
You just keep adding to it. You sit there and you look at it and says, you know what, this would look really cool right here.
Yeah, you know, and I just play with it until I don't even know if
that looks awesome, Dave.
I got to put some details down on the sidewalks and benches and people, and it does actually have interior walls. Can you see the photographs in there?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And it's wired for lighting.
Where'd you get the interiors? Because I've got to do that. After watching that recent TriStar video that Miles Hill did about doing interiors, I've already ripped the roof off a couple buildings.
I just Google searched department store interiors or interiors basically, and it comes up with a whole bunch of pictures, man. And you just pick the one you want and save it, copy it, whatever, and then print it out to whatever scale you want. You know, your printer settings, you can adjust the percentage on it.
Well, that don't make sense. It can't be that easy.
It's not that hard.
Do those awnings on the front of that building and the side, do they come with that, or you add?
No, I used strip styrene, the for sale signs, the thicker ones, the big no parking sign type signs. They're 18 by 16 or they're them big ones for like $6.
Yeah.
And put sandpaper on it for the roof, and then just cut wire supports out and glued them onto there. And,
Yeah.
and then I took a whole bunch of decals, from microscale, and actually applied them to the thin styrene for sale signs, the really thin ones. And then once those set, I just cut them out and glued them on the front of the porch there.
Yeah. While I'm thinking about it, you were saying you used aluminum pipe for your vent pipes up on the roof there.
Yeah.
Another good one to use too is heat shrink tubing.
Yeah.
Use that for vent pipes too if you have that handy.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, what you might want to do too is I guess the craft paints like Apple Barrel or Americana, those are kind of on the thick side. Get a black. You may have to take a few coats, but you know how on vent pipes around the bottom right there where they come through the roof, they always have a tar
build up. Yeah.
Build up around it. You might try doing that, give you a little build up around the base of your pipes too.
Yeah, and I used the super glue and done that too. I put a couple drops of super glue out on the table, put a drop of straight black India ink on top of it, and then I used that super glue to bond my pipe on the roof. And at the same time as I was bonding it, it left that black ring of tar around it. I do the same thing when I'm planting chimneys or anything. It's just a drop of India ink on top of super glue.
I've been thinking about maybe spreading some white glue around on this, maybe one or two of these roofs and sprinkling some gray ballast up there for a ballasted roof.
Yeah, gravel roof.
What I do for the roof elements is mix airplane canopy glue and mix in some black paint, and it creates like a tar look. And I use that to glue on all the, and you end up with kind of a tar substance around the item that you're gluing down, which is perfect.
Yeah, a little build up, or
yeah.
I used to weld, so we call that a fillet.
Where
you have it built up around the pipe there. Yeah, some people I've seen, Dave, too, when they're putting the roofs on before they get details on, they'll take sandpaper. Yeah, and glue that to the top of the roof and then paint it however color they want it, a gray or a black.
That's what this is sandpaper down along this edge here.
Yeah. I mean, you got that building looking really good.
I like the detail that
he's ready for a presentation.
That Muskota did with the little curb drain inside the curb. That was cool.
Yeah.
I'll probably have to put a telephone pole up alongside. I wanted to use telephone poles on my layout, and then I'll have to do a transformer, and then I'll have to run, the 3 lines. I've got the weather heads up here for each section of this building, and I'll do it that way. I'll try to get it as, prototypical as possible.
Yeah.
That'll, of course, be one of the very last things to do on the layout.
Yeah, you can always put your CCT camera up on the pole, too.
I'm looking to get one of those 4-way flashing lights, to hang at my intersection. I can't find it nowhere. Might have to make it.
Yeah, I was going to say you might have to make it use one of those really small LEDs and put it on a flasher card.
Well, 4-way, in the center.
Yeah.
I got a picture of a rooftop there, and I want to share that one.
Alrighty.
That's this black construction paper put down first, and then, like I said, the canopy glue mixed with black paint to create the tar effect.
I like it.
Yeah, that looks really good.
That's HO scale, right?
Yeah. That's HO scale. That's one of the Downtown Deco Hydrocal kits.
Nice. I like the way the brick's all busted out on that corner.
Yeah.
I was always curious what them downtown deco kits would look like, because I got some of those here in N scale, which I'm getting rid of, but
Yeah, they go together really fast, and it's all in the finishing.
Yeah, what glue did you use?
To put them together, I use a 5-minute epoxy.
Yeah, okay.
But then you just put the conduit along the edges and so forth to hide the seams between the sides.
Sure.
Yeah.
I like the way the power lines are draped along the brick there with just some clamps.
Yeah, just some wire, and I used a little like the loops, the brass loops, and I just put those in the wall to hang the wires through.
Yeah. Now the paint on there, what kind of paint did you use?
I just use the regular craft paint.
Dilute it down any, or
Pardon me?
did you dilute it any, or just put it on?
Maybe a little bit to make it a little more runny. It's just a matter of layering it, using a lot of different colors.
Yeah.
Downtown Deco, every kit comes with instructions on how to paint them as well.
Mm-hmm. I haven't worked with that kind of building yet. Now, my hydrocal work's been in making rocks.
Mm-hmm.
And what I do is I usually thin the paint down about maybe a 60-40, something like that. Because I like the way the hydrocal just soaked the paint up and it made the rocks look a lot more natural.
Yeah.
In the color.
Yeah, they recommend when you're doing a structure to spray paint it first to get a base layer so that it doesn't soak up so fast when you're putting the color on, because otherwise you end up with brush strokes and it just looks too blotchy.
Hmm. Yeah, because Bill Graham, Big Bill, does a live show. He did a video on one of his deco buildings that he built, and he's talking about misting it real light with a he used Krylon, I think Rust-Oleum primer. And he said he got about 2 feet away from it and just barely misted the whole building.
They recommend, you can spray it white first, or I use the Krylon tan camo paint on my latest structure.
Yeah.
As a base.
Yeah, because really, depending on what color you use, and it depends. You want to pick one of the primers that'll help make that color stand out too. So like silver, if you I know on plastic models and even on cars, I know a fellow that does show cars and all, and he tries to paint a silver type primer on the car if he's doing a red, candy apple red or whatever. Yeah, it makes that red really kind of pop out. So primers do have a lot to do with how the color comes out.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's a nice looking building.
Here's a couple more here, Johnny, if you want to swap over that screen.
All right, hang on.
These are, I just, what I did was just sanded the brick to, hard to see in this with the lighting I got, but I completely rattle canned the entire building and then sanded the outer face of the brick, and to the naked eye you can see the brick and the mortar lines, but in the camera's not giving it justice.
Yeah.
But you can see like in the front where it's kind of wore off with some of the bricks. That's just like probably 500 grit sandpaper is all that is.
Yeah. Now I like the way you did that. You left space in between the buildings, kind of like a small alleyway. A lot of people stuck the buildings side by side, but yeah, you see that in a lot of places where they have a small walkway where you can go in between the buildings.
And then I'll put the fire escape, probably one on this end. And this one probably doesn't need a fire escape, but it'll have a roof hatch to access the roof
Yeah.
on both of them. And then I'll do the front awnings, and I'll probably sand off some of the white paint and scribe it in a little bit to give it a peeled effect. I mean, these N scale buildings, you can only go so far with them anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'll do a ballasted roof on one of them. Just add a few details. I'm thinking maybe if I do a ballasted on one of them, I'll do the rolled roofing on the other one or something, and do the tar up the side of the brick and the parapet there.
Yeah.
And then probably some downspouts along the back or something with a gutter on it or something like that. What I would like to know is I got a wall space there that is a perfect candidate for a paper sign. You know how they apply the paper sign almost like a dry transfer, but it's not a dry transfer?
Yeah.
I would like to know how to do that. Maybe if there could be a presentation on actually doing that.
Yeah. I've never done it, but I've seen a few people, and I think Miles talked about it in one of the Hangouts. Print your sign out, and you turn it over, and on the backside, take your X-Acto knife or a piece of sandpaper and sand it down really thin, and then put it up on the building.
And what do you use? Just a diluted white glue or something?
Yeah, probably so. I think somebody at one point had used the what was that? Decal saw. They help blend the edges of the decals into details.
Microsol or something?
Yeah, Microsoft.
They threw out my picture there. That's a sign that was paper.
Yeah, exactly. That's paper, huh?
Yeah, and that's just, it's sanded real thin and then just white glue, and I just burnish it into the brick after the white glue is on there.
What'd you use to burnish it with?
Good question. It was pretty soft. Might have just been a blunt knife or something. A dull edge.
Kind of like a butter knife or something.
Along the seams of the brick, that's all.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks really good.
Yeah, that looks good. Especially the bottom part where it says you're better by, how the bricks comes out on that.
I like the windows, how they're, looks like they replaced them at some time.
The white ones?
Yeah, see how the brick looks like it's been bashed away? And I don't know, it makes it look old, I guess, but the windows look like on the newer side, but then like they updated the apartment at one time.
Yeah, the one thing about the Hydrocal kits is that the walls are quite thick, and the windows are recessed. Probably too much. I've put spacers behind these windows to bring them out a little bit closer to the front facade, and you can really see it on the windows on the front of the building there. These ones here.
But I bet you if you looked at one of those buildings, because there's buildings still standing that are like those, but I bet you the windows are really close to like what you've got them, because they in some areas of the country they built the walls so thick because of how cold it gets.
Yeah, it could be.
Well, like the house I grew up in was a brick house built back in 1921, and the windows on it are kind of recessed back inside that's a red brick house. And those windows actually kind of recessed back in there like they were put in from the inside rather than put in from the outside like your new houses. Hey, Bob, how you doing?
Oh, pretty good.
Next time we'll have to put a no N scale allowed. We're getting too many in here.
Hey, technically, I'm not N scale no more.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys already ruined Troy.
Yeah, you guys all ruined me. I'm done.
He's not HO. He's not HO.
No.
We didn't have nothing to do with it.
Yeah, right now Troy's just wishy-washy because he's
No,
there.
he's gone off in dark territory.
Yeah. We do have a question here. I posted up from the Q&A. And right now, since we're talking about windows, it's a good time to bring it up. This is Dwight's question. How do you glue windows? Hard and soft plastic? I guess, are you using like, what's the name of that?
Micro crystal clear?
No, Cornerstone buildings. Yeah, how some of those buildings that come with really thick plastic windows, and then like on these deco buildings, you'll use like acetate. How would you guys glue those up?
The crystal clear.
Yeah, that's how I do mine too. Micro crystal clear.
Yeah, is that at the hobby shops or?
I got mine at Hobbytown, USA.
Texas makes one too. Makes a clear cement.
Yeah,
can't you get it at Hobby Lobby, Dave?
Sometimes, yeah. Depends on the store, I guess.
Getting a little buzz from you, Troy.
Whoops, sorry. Hold on.
He doesn't smoke that stuff.
Not that kind of buzz, Bob.
Oh, that's all I thought of at the moment. Sorry.
Yeah, we know.
And sometimes.
Hey, you should know. You went and visited him.
Well,
I know, like I said, he doesn't smoke that.
Well, you know, Bob's one of those who used to have his head in the clouds too.
Yeah.
He still has his head. His heads are still in the clouds.
Mm-hmm.
He's not a flyboy no more.
No.
Oh, wait a minute. He's going to have a helix, and eventually we'll be in some room somewhere. So.
Yeah, someday.
Yeah, I think he told his wife that was the new headboard for the bed.
After driving for 13 hours to come and get it.
Well, it was only 9.
I had a good time.
Yeah. It survived, didn't get wet.
Yeah, make sure you mix that hamburger up 50-50 with something else. The venison flavor is pretty strong in that. It's pretty lean. They only mix it with 10%. So.
Give him some venison hamburger.
Yep.
Oh, he made out like a bandit.
I got a big old Walmart shopping bag full of stuff.
Really?
Yeah, he probably got about 20 pounds worth of meat.
Let's see. Calculation: 20 pounds mailed to dude in Idaho. That would be.
No. The only way you get meat like this, you got to buy the helix or something big from Troy. then you get the meat special. Yeah.
Hey,
no,
I got so much stuff here. It's not even funny.
I have buddies here that are avid hunters, and I tell all the ones that don't like the liver or the heart to bring it to me, and they tell me, oh yeah, I got an elk over the weekend, and I'm like, oh really? Where's the heart and liver? Oh.
Didn't Trey. Real quick, Bob.
Yeah.
Won't you meet Randy over here?
Randy.
Yeah.
Hey,
of course,
Randy.
you're meeting him a little too late.
Okay.
He works up there at North Platte.
Oh, okay.
At the big yard. Now it's you and Greg already been up there.
Yeah. Well, we didn't see him there.
Yeah.
Yeah, he probably wouldn't have. I was probably sleeping. I work nights.
Oh. Well, we were just up in the tower, so a little hard to see who's who.
Someone actually works.
Yeah.
All right. Well, how do y'all like to do it if you're working with acetate for doing your windows? Do you like to trim it to where it's just a little bit oversized on the inside, or do you like to leave yourself a little room to make sure your glue doesn't, run over and actually fog the window out?
I like to leave as much room as I can.
Anybody?
Yeah, I agree with Andrew. Leave as much room as you can. If you're going to put interior details in there, then curtains or some kind of a window treatment will hide all that. And if not, then it doesn't matter anyway. But
Yeah, you're not going to go ahead and see it.
Yeah. Oh, on structures, how many are painting? The ones that put lights in them, are you painting the inside, so like a black or something like that, to help keep light from bleeding through the thinner parts of the plastic? Or maybe
Oh,
put a piece of cardboard in there diagonally to make it appear like it's only on the front or the back side of the building?
all of the above. Yeah, I make sure I seal any joints in the corner of the building. Make sure they're sealed. The light has a tendency to leak through them. And I always paint them with a matte colour so you don't get this reflection inside.
Yeah. I've had two buildings that had molded garage doors in there, and that was really thin there. So I knew the light would bleed through that. I painted the insides black. I wasn't going to use a divider sheet inside the building.
Oh, and the roof, especially the roof. Make sure you give that a couple of coats. I found, although it's of a black material, quite often if you have an LED up there too close, it will gives it a little hot spot to the outside of the roof.
Huh. Okay.
Seen that happen a couple of times.
Thought the LEDs weren't supposed to be getting hot.
No, I'm not talking about hot. I mean, they actually glow. You can see them glowing through the lights, leaking through the plastic.
Oh, okay.
you can also, depending on the LED brightness, you can also add a diffuser to the light and diffuse the light more evenly instead of just one bright spot in the middle of the room or something. If you're not going to use a cardboard, view block or light block in a certain area, and if you want to illuminate the whole room or something, you can take a piece of I guess frosted acetate and basically take a strip, I don't know, the size of a quarter or something like that, and then wrap it around like a Sharpie pen or something, and just take a lighter or something from maybe 6 or 8 inches away and just heat that enough so it'll keep its shape, and then you can trim it, and then just basically like a light fixture globe, and just attach it to the ceiling or wherever the LED is mounted, and that will diffuse the light more equally.
Okay.
And then it doesn't have the characteristics that it wants to.
I've seen guys put a bit of that shrink wrap over the end of LEDs and then cut it flush, so you get this sort of like a spotlight effect.
Yeah. Yeah, you can have the opposite. It would act as a lens, wouldn't it?
Yeah, so instead of the LED radiating out in all directions, you got this you've got like a hood over it, so you've only got the very tiny little end showing, so it's like more like a spotlight coming down.
To focus the light more.
Yeah, what about just painting them? If you're doing an old building, you won't have a bright white light. What about, say, putting a diluted yellow paint over the LED to give it more of a yellow glow? Can you do that?
I haven't tried that.
I know people have done it with the incandescent bulbs, to get that more of a yellowish light that you would see like in early 1900s and all.
Mm-hmm.
I guess with LEDs, you could get a real thin yellow film, plastic film maybe, and put over it, if anything.
Stick some Kapton tape on it. That's kind of a yellow.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
That might work. I haven't tried it, but if I do, I'll let you guys know if it works or not. Yeah, I would think just about anything to diffuse the light, or like Andrew said, you could build a shroud around it or a hood to focus the light in more of an area that you want illuminated, like in a window display or something at a department store or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then for the interior lights, the background lights, yeah, you probably wouldn't want a really white, bright, fluorescent type of look. I don't know, because my era, the transition, mid to late 40s to early 50s, I don't even know if fluorescents were around then, and if they were, they probably weren't very big.
Yeah, I think they were, but you saw more in industrial and commercial type uses. They definitely weren't used in homes.
The general stores and the smaller mom and pop, like Woolworths or something, mostly use the clear incandescent bulbs, didn't they, hanging from the ceiling?
Yeah, the school lamp type lighting. Yeah.
And they were usually covered with a big giant globe that diffused the light, but it also would be like a giant orb, like the moon or something, but not as bright.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a shroud. They look like exterior lights with that metal shroud hanging from the ceiling everywhere.
Yeah, and then like back in those days, the ceilings were 10 or 12 feet tall, if not taller, and they hung the fixtures from, the actual cord that powered them.
Yep.
And as far as like a street light, lighting your boulevard with or whatever, back when I was a kid, I basically remember telephone poles that had a street lamp attached to it that hung out over the street on either side, and they were basically staggered. Maybe there was one on each corner and one in the center of the block on each side. I don't remember any sidewalk lamps or anything like that.
No, only on a real metropolitan downtown city street, which is not the way my layout's modeled either, would you have had street lamps. You would have had street lamps in Chicago and places like that. They had gas lamps, but when they went to electric lamps, everything I'm seeing in those of my era that I'm modeling around 1950, they have street lights like what you're talking about on poles, but they're not very often. They're kind of big spaces between them.
Yeah. And they were more or less of a dull white rather than a yellow, and they weren't a bright like now, or they weren't the orange or pink tinted ones like they have nowadays.
Right.
Yeah, they didn't have focused lenses on them either that, kind of focused the light in a general area.
No, they just cast a big, wide hue.
Yeah.
I have to remember they buzzed, man. They were loud when you walked underneath them. You could hear the. I don't know what that is in there that makes them buzz, but.
Well, that's the transformer, because those were halogen lights. They used the transformer to power the bulbs.
Well, they buzzed for a while when they first come on, and then once they kind of calm down, and they even shifted color a little bit. It's like they come on more yellowish or something, and then turn more white, and warmed up, and then they quit buzzing or buzz less.
Yeah, when you got that buzz like that, that's either going to be a halogen style light or fluorescent style light, because they have transformers at the base of the lamp, or they have the starters in the fixture,
Right.
like
Yeah.
fluorescence.
And then as far as the signage on the structures themselves, I remember a metal sign mounted to the brick, you know, up above the awning. And a lot of times those were illuminated by individual bulbs inside the lettering on the sign, or they had a neon wrap around the sign.
Yeah.
And then a lot of the illumination too was from, you know, the night lights that were in the store. Soft. A lot of the displays would still be, you know, somewhat lit up at night, so you could see the displays in the actual store.
Yeah.
And also a lot of the commercial, you know, shops and on Main Street underneath the porch areas, like here, they would also have lighting inside of the roof here that shine down onto the sidewalk, mainly in front of the entrances and the exits.
Yeah. Andrew, we're getting an echo from you. Thank you.
And those were kind of a soft white too.
Yeah. You got any fond memories from the good old days, Bob?
Me?
Yeah.
I have good old memories from the good old days.
About signage, lighting.
Oh, let's see.
I kind of come from
Not really.
the city, so I'm used to seeing street lamps and the neon signs and stuff like that.
Yeah. I just remember back in my good old days, it was just lifelike lamps, street lamps, and that was about it.
We got to cable all that stuff up too, which I'm playing with that right now. I've got some poles that I've built working with cabling. So I've been trying to find, my wife's kind of jewelry. I've been trying to find jewels, little small jewels that emulate the insulators that were used. I may just have to, you know, glue a little piece of plastic on there and paint it white to recreate the porcelain insulators. But I've been looking to try to find a little jewel.
Why don't you go get some beads?
Yeah, yeah, she uses beads for that jewelry. That's what I'm trying to do, but I haven't found anything small enough for an HO scale insulator yet. They're just too small. And I don't like, we used to use thread. I know a lot of people use thread for emulating wire, but it's a little not as pristine as I would like, or for lack of a better description, it's fuzzy. So I think I'm going to use a very small wire, real like a 40 gauge piece of actual wire.
Why not monofilament fishing line?
What color? Oh yeah, the little wire that comes on a little bitty spool is what I've got some of right now. I was thinking about using it, but it's going to be really hard to apply. But the fishing line would be easier to apply if you get it small enough.
Yeah. Just go to Walmart and look at it, because they have different size lines. You can get probably a 1 pound test line.
Yeah.
That'll be pretty small for lightweight, what they use on lightweight rods and reels.
Yeah, what color is that coming in? White?
Spider
No, some of it has a little bit of a greenish tint to it. Some's clear, you know.
Yeah, and I can paint it. I don't mind painting it. The wire is silver, and I was gonna have to use I was gonna have to burnish it. You know, I was gonna take it off the spool, throw it. I burnished my metal parts in a glass pan, Pyrex. So I'd have to throw it. You know, take it all off the spool and throw it in Pyrex and burnish it in the blackening agent and wash it all off. It's gonna be kind of a job.
You have your individual strands, and then when it goes to the
Yeah, I don't know how well it'll take that, but you know.
It goes to the meter on whatever structure.
Yeah.
Dave.
Sorry.
Yeah, could you mute your mic? Mic your mute.
Sorry, fellas.
Thank you.
I've got to run all the individual strands between poles, which it's not a lot. This is rural, so you know the telegraph wires were still in place at the time. For that matter, they're still in use in 1950, and but there's only 3 or 4 wires. You know, it's not like there's 20 on a pole. But I've got to run individual strands out to the house and down the house to the power meter, all that, you know, all that jazz. And I just don't like the look of thread. And then thread, it doesn't take very well to taking a module. My layout's sectional. Eventually, I'm patching the scenery in, so it'll be whole. But right now, I've still been taking modules down to work on for certain things. So the thread will not take that abuse very well either. Whereas I think the wire would take some abuse. You could bump into it with your hand, and it would still hold true. And especially if I had beads and run that wire through the beads, it would really hold up.
Yeah. There is a company, and I can't think of the name of it. They do make a wire, you know, for doing what you want to do. It's not wire. It's actually a kind of like a polyfilament, like fishing line.
Sure.
It's got a little spring to it, so that way when people touched it, kind of pushed on it, it'd push down, but it'd spring back. I can't think of who's got that right now.
Well, that'd be perfect. Wire
yeah. Fishing
it's called
line.
Easy Line.
Huh?
Easy Line.
Yeah, that's it. Easy Line.
Yeah, it's like a nylon basically.
Well, that would work better. See, wire exhibits the exact opposite property of thread. So thread's way too soft. Wire, on the other hand, you have to bend the natural arcs that gravity puts in your wire. You have to bend that into it smoothly. If you don't, you can bend that wire and it'll hold its shape just like any other wire, and that's not a desirable trait most of the time. It would be when you were cabling up a house, but for the actual pole-to-pole lines, that's not a desirable trait at all. So the nylon actually kind of got my attention for that reason.
All right, Andy.
Yeah.
What you need to do is when you're stringing your power line, you got to remember you need 2 wires. They're going to be hot. Each one's 120 volts. Well, back in that time, they were 110. But you're going to have to run one small wire about 1 foot, 2 feet under that from pole to pole without so much of a loop in it, because that was the ground wire.
Oh, okay. That's
you always have a ground wire. Back in the early days, the ground wire was below the power line, so as the workman would go up the pole, he would ground himself to the ground wire before he got up to the power wires. Now, modern day poles, you'll notice there's 2 ground wires. There's still one right below, and then there's one across the top of the poles also. Even on your high tension lines, they have ground wires running on those too. But even back in the early days, you still had that ground wire, earth ground wire.
Right. So these
wires.
So these poles, and I have photos that I'm modeling from, and these poles are a single pole with a single crossbar at the top with 4 or 6 or 8 insulators with single wires across the top. Where would that ground wire not have a crossbar? Would it be pole?
No, it's straight on the pole. It's straight on the pole. They put the insulator on the pole, run the ground wire on it.
All right.
It wasn't on that crossbar.
That makes sense because it only has that one crossbar. And this, you know, like I said, this is rural. The only thing it's running a kind of long line out to 2 houses that's at the end of a gravel road, and it follows railroad tracks, obviously, and it has the telegraph line. So I expect I need about 4 wires. A couple of those will peel off to those 2 houses, and then a couple of them will carry on down the tracks, carry the telegraph and signal, because they go on down to a signal relay box at the end of the siding.
If y'all look at your chat box, you'll notice Randy posted, I think that said Berkshire. It doesn't stay up long on my screen. But he put the link up. I believe that's for the Easy line.
Oh, that looks great, too.
I've seen videos where people have used that, and they said they really like it, especially during open houses, because people always like to put their finger on there. And that stuff does have a give.
Oh yeah, you see that top picture? If you open that up, they've got a stick bending them down, bending the wires way down, and it looks like they recover from that. So, yeah, man, that's really nice. It looks perfect, and it has the right color to it. Because the wires are not. I just always thought Thread done a really bad job. Also, if you look third picture down, it shows that wire run across pole to pole that you're talking about being the ground. It's not on the cross arms at the top. It's actually on the pole below the bottom cross arm. On the third pick down, they have that modeled.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I need to do. And I'm making my own poles. I haven't found anything else I like, so I'm using I think they're bamboo or whatever. I'm using skewers and some scale lumber to make them. Rick's Products makes some decent looking telephone poles, but they're styrene, and I just don't have good luck making plastic look like wood. So.
Try making wood look like plastic.
I don't know if I'd have good luck with that. I'm not I'm not an artsy person. I'm an engineer at heart. Computer engineer by trade, electrical engineer by training. My nature is to be engineer oriented. So I'm good at track work and electrical, etc. But the artsy stuff, which is what I've been trying to do, I tried to get to that as quickly as possible on my layout, just to kind of force my hand and make me do that stuff. Because I've always built layouts that were plywood Pacific, because I always was scared of everything else. And I forced myself to do scenery and weathering and all this stuff earlier. But one of the things I found as a tenet of the way I have to model is I have to use a material that's like the prototype. So I'm using plaster. I'm casting or buying plaster rock work or plaster bridge abutments. I tried making them out of styrene. They look like styrene. And I bought some styrene kits, some really nice from City Classics. And I really like them. They're beautiful buildings, and I cannot make them look good.
Well, tell you what, I want to interrupt here real quick because I'll have to apologize to White. I didn't see you post this up here real quick, but I want to give myself a big head. Dwight posted, Johnny, you did a great job tonight. Cool how you picked up on the questions and explained them. I learned a lot as always. Thank you. Well, I appreciate that, Dwight, and glad to have you in here. Hope you come on in a lot more often, and if you like, come in and join on the panel too.
Boom!
Oh, hush, hush, boss.
Coffee Saturday, dude?
Yes, sir.
Dave said he wanted 3 sugars this time, not 1. You're getting a little cheap on the sugar and the cream. All right, anybody else got anything they want to? I keep moving my cursor, and I've almost hit the stop broadcast button twice now.
I've got maybe a tip. I don't know. I've never tried it, but the tar buildup along the parapet wall, the perimeter of the roof edge, and all that, and maybe the pipe flashings or whatever. Anybody ever try that liquid electrical tape with a small brush to apply it?
I have, but not for I use it
For roof tile?
yeah, I use it to insulate between rails. I paint the ends of my rails with it. But I've not used it for a scenery application. That's interesting.
I just thought of that, because it's black. It looks just like tar.
Yeah, that's thick too.
It has a slight, ever so slight shininess to it, and it looks wet even after application. So, yeah, it'd be good.
Might give that a try.
I use it in my track work. I
don't use it enough to justify the bottle, so I might find a new use for it.
Well, I use it on electrical stuff too. So I use it on my wiring, where I cut back my bus wires and solder my drops to it, paint it with that, and then I insulate between the rail, and I paint the ends of the rail with that electrical, with that liquid electrical tape. It's the best thing I found. I tried gluing acetate, styrene, all kinds of stuff to the ends of the rail, and nothing would stick.
All right, Troy. We'll catch you later.
All right, have a good evening, guys.
Yeah. Bye, Troy.
Later.
Have a good one. Nice one.
See you, buddy.
Oh, you'll see more of Troy, I guarantee you. He's worse than a bad habit. He comes back even when you're not expecting it.
Yep.
I'm getting an echo from somebody, and I can't figure out who it is.
Not me.
No. Who is that? Oh, Dave. I just saw it. Yep.
Andrew?
No. Dave.
Oh, Dave.
Hey ho.
Yeah.
Well, yayo.
Yeah, who are you calling a Yale?
Think you can do that stuff, Dave, with anything?
Well, we get a little echo out of your mic. What was that, Andy?
I was asking Dave. Ask Dave if he's he's just applying full. Yeah, he's applying full screen.
Probably eat a hole in the roof. Looks all right.
Yeah.
Where do you get the liquid tape from?
I got this at Ace or Home Depot or wherever.
Mm-hmm. Be over in the electrical department. I bought it before. I didn't have good luck with the one I had. It was so daggone runny. I was trying to use it on the wiring of the trailer, boat trailer. Yeah, it made a big old mess.
But I've applied the stuff I got's pretty doggone thick. But I've also applied a couple layers. So I paint rail in where I'm going to annoy them, but I want it to be electrically isolated. But sometimes I paint a couple, let it dry, and paint a coat on it.
Mm-hmm.
Nice if it came in different colors.
It does.
Does it?
Yeah.
Green and red, white, yellow.
Yeah, I've always seen it in black.
Well, I've only got it in black, and I only use it in black.
Blue.
But I've seen it.
Is there brown?
There might be. I don't know.
I haven't seen the brown. There could be.
Yeah, about the only place you see electrical wiring in brown would be in marine applications.
Mm-hmm.
Not so much in industrial, commercial, residential. Where if you're pulling a bunch of power wires, code lets you use different colors.
True. I'm just thinking paint colors. Also just use paint.
It takes paint. So I use it to electrically isolate rails between electrical joints in my track work, and then I paint it with the that camouflage brown color. And it also takes this, I don't know, it's rubber, so shouldn't take the same material, but it takes my dry powdering effect the same as rail does once it's painted.
Like Henry Ford said, you can have any colour you like as long as it's black.
Well, when I was up there at Troy's, I almost bought everything he had of Great Northern.
He's got a good collection of stuff.
There's no almost in railroading.
No, there was when you're buying. You spent a lot of money already.
So did they hook you up with the rig to go up there and back?
Yeah, they hooked me up with a Dodge Ram with a power, the full cab, crew cab,
Hemi?
with a Hemi, 5.7 liter Hemi. That thing just fit right perfectly in the back, and it also had a one of those garage door type covers that pull down over the top of it, so it kept the rain out. But that thing would shake loose every once in a while and pop open, so I had to tie the strap down over the top of the tailgate to keep it from going too far.
So where are you going to use that Helix at?
Right now it's in the garage, so I'm not sure yet.
Living room.
I like the idea of a head post.
The head post, yeah.
Yeah.
It is 4 foot square. It doesn't quite fit.
Head post. What are you talking about?
I was, convince the wife it's my new headboard. No, I don't think she'll go with that one.
Yeah.
I was looking at the room that I want, and it's like, that's 4 foot square. Just taking a big chunk out of that one corner. What if I put it in the closet? It sticks halfway out of the closet. So, yeah, I got to figure out where I'm going to put it.
You can suspend it from the ceiling.
Yeah. That's another option.
Well, that fits with your layout design. You just got to figure out where you're going to go from it to with the Helix to change that elevation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I got a great place for you there, Bob.
What?
You're doing around the house, around inside the rooms. If you ever take it out into the garage, you use the Helix to bring it down in the garage. You expand out in the garage area.
Yeah, that's one thought. I'm not sure that's going to work very well with my heating and cooling in the winter. Can big a hole in the side of the wall.
I put some plastic strips up like they do in warehouses, so a train runs through, they just flap.
Yeah.
Oh, I tell you what. Everybody's always, talking about their, detectors and all like that. Just put a door on it with a servo or something, and have block detections on each side, so when it senses a train coming, it opens up the door, train goes through, it closes it. That'll take care of your heat and cooling loss.
Yeah.
Then add a speaker and a soundboard, give it a sound like on Star Trek when the doors are open and going into the elevator.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or a creaking sound. Yeah, a bunch of guests over, they hear a creaking sound, they ask you, what is that? Oh, that's Bob's train coming back from the garage.
Actually, you can model that prototypically. You can model both that tunnel, get that door over the tunnel. And they actually have a model, or somebody did that in HO scale at least, and accurately modeled the door opening and closing by a sensor. So you can do that. Which one benefit of N-scale is that's a pretty small haul.
Mm-hmm. It is. Hmm.
Yeah, it'd only be what, about 3 inches?
Now,
Yeah.
I HO scale. I only give 2.25 inch clearance on HO scale, 2.5 inch clearance on HO scale. But I'm not modeling double stack auto rack. But passenger equipment, whole equipment, articulated locomotives will clear it up.
Hmm. Well, it's always an option. I just gotta find a place to put all the stuff that's in the garage.
Seemed to work.
All right, what is your garage, single car or double car?
The double car, but one of it's just full of stuff. Lawnmowers and tools and, foam and bicycles and
That's what garages are.
saws and everything else.
That's what garages do. Collect junk.
Yeah, every garage collects junk.
Yeah, I don't know anybody in a garage. I don't know many people have a garage.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll tell you what, we kind of hitting the bewitching hour here. Andrew. Yo,
Yep.
Andrew. You want to go start an after show party?
Yeah, mate, can do.
All right.
You still there?
Yeah, we're still here.
Yeah, I'm here.
Well, put you to sleep yet, huh?
No, I'm still young.
You're not at work either.
That liquid nails turned out pretty, or that liquid tape stuff turned out pretty nice.
Yeah, it seemed to work. It didn't need a hole in the roof.
So
That's always good.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of a rubbery type concoction anyway, so. All right, well, Andrew's going to go start a regular hangout. Everybody here, if you want to go jump over on his hangout and kind of continue talking, that'll be good. If you want to do that.
Okay.
But we kind of hit the bewitching hour here, so I'm going to wind this one down, put it in the can. So,
Okay.
well, just say, keep checking back with the on the YouTubeModelBuilders.com website for all the latest news and info on Tuesday night presentations, which are subject oriented. Got the eMag, live show schedules. The live show is once every month. It's normally the third Saturday, but occasionally they have to change it. So you want to check schedule, make sure when it is, but most of the time, third Saturday of the month. So we've got one coming up on the 19th, a week from this Saturday. We'll have one. And the eMag is bi-monthly. It comes out every other month. You can also at the website sign up for eMag notifications. So when it does come out, you'll get a notification and go to the website, be able to download it, PDF file. JD does a great job on that, and also let you know, because some people don't know if they really know it or not, but a lot of those, there's a lot of hyperlinks in the articles. So if he's got something in bold, put your cursor on it, and they'll take you to a website or whatever that's linked to that article. In the front of the magazine where he lists all the contributors, you click on their name and they'll take you to their YouTube channels or website, whichever they have. Let's see, I done lost my place here. Yeah. Tuesday night presentations every week. We also have, they are a subject oriented. We have Dude, Troy, Gino, Barry, Each one does one each week, so you'll see them once a month. They do pick their topics and try and have a guest on the show a lot of the times. Barry, he does a tech type show, and he has Mike with him. And they do a great job on that one too. In fact, all of them do a great job with their presentations. Go to the website, sign up for the email, I've already done all that. And I want to thank everybody for participating in tonight's Hangouts. I know some have already dropped out to either go to bed or go watch a movie. I know Jim likes to watch a couple of movies with his wife before they go to bed. Also, I want to say welcome again, Randy and Muskoka. Hopefully I got that fairly right. Your mic's muted.
Yeah, sorry. Just call me Steve.
Just call you Steve, okay? Well, I'm a Southern boy, so yeah. Unfortunately, I'm one of those. It takes me a few times for the name really sticks. I did notice. I kept going when you turned your camera off. Your profile picture comes up. I'm sitting there going, "Where have I seen that before?" I have a pontoon boat that has those decals on the front of it, but they took the Blue Jays off of it. She's got the bird sitting up there. I bought the boat used. It turned out the fellow I bought it from, his grandfather was one of the coaches
Oh, really? Yeah.
for the Blue Jays, and that was his pontoon boat. So that's how the decals got on there.
Nice.
But hope y'all enjoyed the show. Glad to have you on the panel. Hope you come back. You know, I'm here every Thursday. We got every Tuesday too. So hope y'all enjoyed it. I want to thank the viewers for coming in also and the questions. Dwight, yeah, appreciate that. And I guess this is going to conclude tonight's show.
I posted the link to the other one over in the chat thing.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so if y'all go into your chat part, click on that link, that'll take you straight to Andy's Hangout that he just started up. It's what we used to call the after show Hangout.
Bye.
Yeah. Hey, dude.
Yeah.
You gonna be on for a minute?
Yeah.
All right, hang on. I'll go ahead and end the broadcast.